According to the National Center for Education Statistics, about 3.3 million students are expected to graduate from high school during the 2015-16 school year. Each of them needs to make a decision about what to do next. Should they enter the workforce and find a job? Continue to further their education and enroll in some college? Or should they enter the military? What if one of those future graduates comes to you and tells you that they're thinking about joining the military and wanted to ask you a few questions about it? Things like, what branch should they enter? Or what are some of the benefits you get while being in the military? And will having a military experience and background after they separate help them as they transition back into the civilian world? Would you have the information and knowledge about the U.S. military to be able to answer their questions? Well, after hearing what I have to say today, I believe you'll have enough information to successfully carry on a conversation with that young adult who came to you for help and guidance. So let's get started. In order to choose the best branch for your needs and interests, you must understand the differences between the 5 branches of the military along with their respective reserve components. The Air Force is the most recently established branch of the military, which happened back in 1947. Its main purpose is to support the security of the United States through air and space exploration. The Air Force has 2 reserve components, the Air National Guard and the Air Force Reserve. The Army is the oldest branch of the military and was established in 1775. The Army is considered to be the ground force of the military, and the majority of soldiers who serve have a job related to ground forces. Along with the active duty soldier, the Army also has 2 reserve components, the Army Reserves and the Army National Guard. The main difference between the two is that the reserves fall under federal management and the National Guard falls under the jurisdiction of whichever state it is located, and they can be activated for federal missions if needed. The 3rd branch of the military is the United States Navy. Also established in 1775, it's considered to be the defender of the seas. While those serving in the Navy also operate on land, their main mission is on the sea. And like the Army and the Air Force, the Navy does have a reserve component associated with them. The next branch of the military is the Marines. The Marines are the 2nd smallest branch and was established in 1798 as a separate branch and has over time slowly moved towards ground force operations. The Marines, however, do not have their own medical corps. You will not find a job for medics, nurses, or other medical personnel if you choose to join the Marine Corps. The Marines are supported by the Navy Medical Corps. There is also not a Marine Corps National Guard, but there is a Marine Corps Reserve. And our final branch of the military is the Coast Guard, which is the most forgotten branch of all the U.S. military services. While as being the smallest, many people don't realize that the Coast Guard is a separate branch with active duty military members. The Coast Guard was originally established in 1790 and in 2002 was moved to fall under the Department of Homeland Security. If need arises, it can be called on to missions under the Department of the Navy. The Coast Guard's primary purpose is to control illegal immigration by sea and conduct sea rescues. The Coast Guard also has a reserve component known as the Coast Guard Reserves. Now that we know a little bit about the different branches of the military and their missions, what are some of the benefits an individual receives from being in the military? Well, we all know about a steady paycheck, or the ability to travel and see the world, and to be able to save money for, and with the help with the GI Bill, attend college either while serving or after they separated from the military. But what about those benefits and strengths that most people don't realize that they get from military service? The National Veterans Training Institute, which is funded by the Department of Labor, created a list of 21 strengths that arise from military service. Now I just want to talk about a few that stand out. Leadership and training. The military trains people to accept and discharge responsibilities for others, for activities, for resources, and for one's own behavior. This training includes setting examples, giving carefully considered directions, inspiring leadership capabilities in others, and continually motivating others in their group. What about the strength of the ability to work as a team member or a team leader? Essential to military experience is the ability to work as a member of a team. Almost all military activities is performed with the assistance, coordination, and awareness of other people or other units. Many military personnel have served as team leaders where they analyzed situations and problems, made appropriate decisions, given directions and followed through with a viable plan, and accepted responsibility for their outcome. How about your ability to get along with and work with all types of people? The government attracts all types of Americans, regardless of race, gender, economic status, age, religion, intelligence, or physical condition. In the service, military personnel have worked for and with people of all types of backgrounds and characteristics on a continuing basis. And number 4, your ability to work under pressure and meet deadlines. One of the definite characteristics of the military service is that service members must perform. They must do their job, do it right the first time, and do it in a timely manner. They are continuously setting priorities, meeting schedules, and accomplishing their missions. Pressure and stress are built into this, but service members are taught how to deal with these factors in a positive and effective manner. And how about the last strength, the ability to give and follow orders? People in the military know how to work under supervision and can relate and respond favorably to others. They understand accountability for their actions and for their subordinates' actions. They also understand and use discipline in their lives and with dealing with others. They have learned to respect and accept legitimate authority. Susan Adams, a writer for Forbes magazine, published an article entitled "The 10 Skills Employers Most Want in 20-something Employees," and listed them in order of importance. Now, I'm not going to go over the entire list. I just wanted to let you know the top 5 strengths. The ability to work as a team. The ability to make decisions and solve problems. The ability to plan, organize, and prioritize work. The ability to communicate verbally with people inside and outside the organization. And number 5, the ability to obtain and process information. Can you see now how the strengths and benefits you obtain through military service marry up with what employers are looking for in future employees? Knowing this information, we can now address the last area you were asked about. What can I do with my military experience after separating? Well, according to a news release from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics dated March 22nd of this year, for the year 2015, there was 21.2 military veterans actively employed, accounting for about 9% of the civilian workforce age 18 and over. This means that there are jobs available for them when they separate. Or maybe after the military, your young adult would like to start their own business. Well, according to a survey released in 2011 from the U.S. Small Business Association, 2.4 million businesses were owned by military veterans. They had sales and receipts of $1.2 trillion and had 5.7 million employees working for them for a combined annual payroll of $210 billion. And that was 6 years ago. Mary Ann Hudson, who is a contributor for Forbes magazine, in an article entitled "Startup Success, Veteran-Owned Businesses Are Gaining Traction with Investors," states that 30% is the proportion of all American businesses owned by veterans. Interestingly, while veterans only make up 8% of the population, they're twice as likely to own a business than the general population. So she also goes on to state that 7% of the businesses owned by veterans are still open after 10 years, compared to 1/3 of all businesses that survive 10 years or more. So starting their business after leaving the military is a viable option for them as well. So you can tell the graduate that what they learned and experienced while in the military is valuable and can be applied to augment their civilian life after separation with positive results. Now, when you leave here today, ladies and gentlemen, and one of those future graduates tells you that they're possibly thinking about joining the military and was wondering what you thought about it, you have the information to tell them a little bit more about the branches of the military and their unique missions. You can talk to them more about their benefits and the strengths that they acquire from being in the military, like their ability to work as a team leader or team member, and their ability to get along and work with all types of people, and that once they separate from the military, their experiences and lessons learned are valuable resources for them to rely on, whether they work for somebody or open their own business. I thank you for your time today and listening to my informative comments about the U.S. military, one of the 3 possible options a high school senior has after graduation. Thank you.